that you or me?
That is you. Popping off.
Okay, turn that off.
Got a busy day?
Kind of, sort of, but not really. I'm used to like 7 days a week. We just fucking go.
Uh-huh.
I think we're live. Let's see, we're live.
Love it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, anytime there's a. Oh, no, we're not. Okay, so on air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think. Say hello to the folks.
Hello to the folks. Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Look at you rock and rolling.
Oh, dude, this is it, man.
Man,
Oh, shit, I forgot the water.
Tell you live, without Cruz, we are helpless, and yeah, man, what an amazing week. Rick, I'm excited for what we got going up. By the way, get ready to give a big round of applause to the one and only, the affiliate of the year.
What's up, bro?
Come on.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, man.
Out of how many affiliates? A lot.
There's a couple hundred
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is it? What is the essence of an affiliate of the year?
So that is getting voluntold to do a bunch of stuff. And let's see, are we live? Yes, we are.
We are. There we go.
We're rocking with a skeleton crew. By skeleton, I mean
By the way,
me.
some of my best work has been unrecorded, by the way.
Oh, my-
Have you ever had
all
that
of
happen?
my
Like
best
you
work.
nail it, and then they're like, "Oh, sorry, the mic wasn't on. Let's do that again." And you're like, "I can't."
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't do it twice. Like
Yeah, you're
that
just like,
was the magic.
What did I say?
Yeah, people are like, say that again. And I'm like, huh. I don't know. I hope somebody was taking notes because
skeleton crew. So we have no headphones. So this is
yeah,
a new
there we go.
wrinkle.
We're fired up either way.
We are fired up, and we both have a sniffle.
Yep, we
so
do.
Like,
Yes.
I think it's mandatory right
World
about
travels,
now.
yes.
Wow, the levels are really hot. So like, hopefully nobody's getting their speakers blown
Well,
out.
that's okay. That's all right. We're fired up. We're coming in hot. They should expect that.
We are coming in hot. So you have just come back from.
Man, we've been in Canada. We've been in Wisconsin, Wisconsin was awesome. We got to hang out with Mike Frame and Tommy. And what was so cool is we just launched a book, Rethink Everything, with Cal Draper. Cal Draper helped make that all happen, part of his series. So Rethink Everything about client retention management, which is amazing. So it comes out this week. So everybody should go buy about 100 copies.
Right.
Excited about that. Then
Just in time for Christmas.
Yep. Then we went to Tulsa for a couple days, which was good. And then the last several days I was in San Antonio to see my oldest graduate from basic training, which was amazing.
That was awesome.
Then I got to go meet my bookkeeper, who's been with me for like 6 years, never met in person. We got to have coffee. Then went to Gonzales, Texas, who I did not know this. Gonzales, Texas is where, the whole like come and take it, the can and the whole.
yeah, the snake.
It comes from Gonzales, Texas,
Oh,
where literally.
I think I knew that.
There were like 13 dudes that were like fighting off a couple hundred dudes with a cannon. And the whole story, I was like blown away. So we got to hang out with Big John there. And yeah.
Dude, I think.
I'm ready for nap. How about you?
I went to Colleyville.
There you go. Colleyville's nicest time of year.
And I went to Uptown. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Less miles, but just as fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've been to none of those places. I've actually been to Canada once or twice, but it was like a Niagara Falls thing when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now the Air Force Academy.
Yeah.
So that was
Crazy.
cool because we had
That
him
was
on,
cool.
and he was
Yeah.
like, I was like, wow, And I have another friend of mine whose kid is in West Point, like right now.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
And first off, just to get to where they qualify,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they get in,
So
it's
much.
like, okay, you have checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
That goes in the win column as a dad.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
Because like for me, I already knew a long time ago all I would have ever done was damage. So it's
Right.
like, bro, not me.
You might have been perfect. You never know.
Or like you've seen the Omen movies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Greater
we're
than
not.
zero chance that would have rolled. So now, yes. So I was affiliate of the year.
Yep.
That was a surprise.
Very cool.
And thank you. That was. I have not been dialed into that
large of a community all at once since before COVID.
Yeah.
So I've been at a few events where, you know, the team is shooting or whatever,
Right.
but like there I kind of get in, get out, and I haven't been a part of it, and I'd been nominated I think twice before.
Yeah.
And it was just, that was bonkers, man. And dude, it was one of those, okay, I pulled the curtain back where it's like, okay, I had to remember, okay, salad forks all here.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, wear my good shirt.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The cleanest dirty
Yeah,
shirt. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. So now we're winding it down.
Yeah.
It is, dude. This is week 52.
That is
that
amazing.
We've been doing this.
That's
shit.
great. That's
Yeah.
a good job, bro. That is
Dude.
amazing.
Consistency.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's probably at least like 7 minutes of usable.
At least
decent
seven. At
content.
least 7 minutes in there somewhere. Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
You know, you say like rough. Let's just say we'll round it up to say like
Yeah.
60 hours of content.
What do you think Metrotex has done well to build community better in the last year or so than maybe they had in a little while? Like, what do you think they've done well?
It actually goes right to the main driver of community. It's the people.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So I had Teresa Flood in here yesterday. It's gonna roll out in January. The Upside.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's like
She's brilliant.
now. Mind you, I am well aware that we are like totally half-assing and just it's
Yes.
like we're flying the plane, we're putting fixing the rudder,
For
we're
sure,
like, there's
for sure,
maintenance
yes,
or we're
yes,
replacing the engine in
yes.
there or whatever. But she is like super wired tight. And I'm taking a long way around the
Yeah,
board to say
yeah.
this, but she's like super wired tight. So she comes in, bang, 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 knocks out these episodes, and she's like all excited, you know,
Yeah.
because I'm like, dude, this was awesome. And then she says, oh, you know, thank you so much for doing this or whatever. And I said, look, if you weren't good
Right.
and you weren't cool, I wouldn't,
We wouldn't be doing it. Yeah,
be doing
yeah.
this. And so that, I don't know, I don't think I'm like the odd man out in that whole idea of if it's cool people
Yeah.
and good orderly direction as
Yeah.
far as like what the goal is, or if we're all kind of like lined up,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's
Yeah,
not about
absolutely.
like, hey man, that would have normally, and it's like, that's not that, you know? So like what I teach the guys
Right.
is it's like, no, you suit up and show up. If it sucks, you don't go back.
Right.
That's simple as
Absolutely.
that.
Yes.
And then there's certain stuff, like I said with Teresa, I mean, I said straight up, it was like, dude, I mean, if you weren't badass,
Yeah, we wouldn't be doing it.
we wouldn't be doing this. And
Yeah.
then the same thing goes with Metrotex.
Yeah.
They have filled all of the, let's just say they knocked out the dents.
Yeah.
Because pre-COVID, it was one way. Post-COVID, everything was different. You
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
so that was a difficult thing to navigate. And good go, you know, like the lawsuit thing.
Yeah.
Woo,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, you're the enemy, and you know the judicial system kind of says
Yeah.
agrees with everybody that's pissed at you.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how do you navigate that? Well, the answer is with cool people.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
You know, so like Justin coming out here with Ashley and getting
Yeah.
on whenever they came out.
Yeah,
with us,
absolutely,
It was
yeah.
like, whoa, okay, that's cool.
Yes.
And right place, right time. And then you know how Michelle and Ashley now their little thing has grown
Oh, it's
out
amazing.
of.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you got 73 kids and,
Yeah,
and-
yeah,
and-
absolutely,
and
yes.
go to at least 8 continents
Yeah,
a year.
yeah.
So Michelle came in as substitute Wayne in the beginning.
And then off to the races.
Yeah, and then it was like she wanted to do the women's thing, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then Ashley came in as just one of the women whenever we
Yeah.
were doing the rando thing there, and they're now like BFFs.
So cool.
And they did the winning women's women who win. So it's like the
Yeah.
alliteration. So I love all that shit. But they did the event at Metrotex.
Yeah.
So like Metrotex, again, to bring it back to the people aspect, Metrotex has turned the corner where they are more, I don't even know how you would couch it other than amenable to just, hey, we have a clubhouse. Y'all
Yeah.
come here. You know,
Yeah.
like if you were a little kid or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, let's go smoke cigarettes.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely. Yeah.
clubhouse.
No, they have. They've made it relatable. They've made it open. They've been available. Like, it feels awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, you did the thing there, and
Yeah.
then did you see like so I learned something on that one where there again, it's like, you know, I like you and you do cool shit.
Yeah.
So it was like I show up and it was like, oh man, okay, note to self, next time 2-camera shoot because the AI can, you know,
Yeah,
chop
it's
suey that
amazing.
thing to hell and
Yes.
back, and then boom, massive content. But it was like, you know, I busted out like 20 clips or whatever, and it's all you from the same angle.
That's amazing. Yeah. Hey, I'm down. I think it's great. I think it's great.
And to the whole thing about full circle with community. So, you know, Studio USA West
Yeah.
has right across the hall is
Yeah.
the Metrotex Northeast Tarrant County office.
So
now.
good.
And out of that has now become we're going to do the summit deal
Yeah.
in, you
It's
know,
gonna be
next
awesome.
month. And
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so like here's my thought. It's like I thought kind of thought about, because I'm fascinated by you and Michelle both, where it's like, and it reminds me a lot of sponsorship in recovery, except for sponsorship in recovery, you don't you don't pay for it,
Right.
but now you get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it reminds me of like just tons and tons and tons of actionable, practical advice that, of course, I usually
Yeah.
don't take,
Yeah.
and that I usually
Yeah.
don't act upon. But the idea of, okay, if we did 2025 liftoff
Right.
in January,
Yes.
and then in November we did 2025 landing,
Yeah, I love that.
where y'all do like a book-ended
I love
set.
perfect,
of,
yes.
Like, okay, here's some stuff. And then you know how it is. It's like if you're in a room full of 100 people or whatever, and you're throwing down some real
Yeah.
useful ideas, 2 or 3 people in there are actually going to do it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I would love to
So
actually have a
cool.
record of that happening.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yep.
this is what happened with the people that did what we, what we
Absolutely,
suggested.
yeah.
And then also carve that up for content. So,
Yeah.
so that's sort of like the macro
I love
of the idea, and then everybody was on board immediately, and and I'm just kind of half-assing.
Came on.
it. Like,
No, hey,
and we'll do this
hey,
live from over there.
You bring. I mean, somebody's just got to be the person that brings everybody together and just makes it happen.
Yes, I'm like the catalyst.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
the guy that comes in, and I just set it on fire.
Yeah, yeah. I set on fire. Yeah,
and then I leave.
the troops run in. Yeah, there we go.
Indicted, never convicted.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Yes,
what we're going
yes.
for. So now, what's it like to be the dad and to have? Because it's like, obviously we're in Studio USA, so I'm a patriotic guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so now you got the kid
Yeah.
in the Air Force,
Yep.
and he did the deal. And now, is he officially? Is it an airman? Is that what they are?
Airman. Yep.
Yeah.
Now. Yep. So he's off to now do his specialized training and all that stuff, and then eventually Sears and everything else, and it'll be great. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now, is he planning to be like? Not that you would know at that age, but like a lifer? Is he like dialed in?
Yeah, it's interesting because we were talking about that yesterday when we were hanging out, and I was like, "Hey, whether you do 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, I don't think you're going to regret any of this." And it's been really good for him so far. And he's loved it. And the cool thing is, it's not for everybody, but man, he's dialed in on this. Like it's great.
Cool.
It's great for him. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I have a couple of friends that that was kind of their jam.
Yep.
After school, and then I have one guy that I worked with at several different back in like Internet 1.0. And he was like super tech nerd, really
Yeah.
dialed into the IT world, but he lacked, it was that stereotypical thing like, you need to buckle down, that,
Right.
well, not that I ever heard that.
Yeah.
But he joined the Navy.
Yeah.
And like, dude, he is like somewhere now probably under the polar ice cap on doing IT on a
Yes.
nuclear submarine.
Yeah,
And it was like, wow, okay. Well, to that, the idea of, man, that shit just resonates with some
Yeah,
people and
yeah.
it clicks.
Well, I think back to your thing, like, people need to experience multiple different things. Like, I think people are trying, like you said, like people, dial in and figure out what you're gonna do. But I think one of the good things is, even though he's young, he's experienced. He's done a lot. He's had different jobs. He's done different things. Like, I think that a lot of people are trying to find like the perfect like. They want to know what exactly they're supposed to do without trying a bunch of things. And I think like sometimes you just can't figure it out. I don't think like you got to try some things. You're like, ooh, I actually hate that, right? Or, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Well, yeah.
that sounded fun. Don't actually love how that like is in real. It's the example of somebody's like, I want to be a nurse, and then like 2 years in, they're like, oh, I actually hate seeing blood. You know what I mean? But it's like, but I think you got to try a bunch of different things. I think people are unwilling. Sometimes we get old, we get mature, we have responsibilities, but like, we almost get to a place where like we're looking for like the secret this or the magic bullet or the one
there isn't
decision,
one.
and there's not.
No.
You got to try a bunch of different things. I've had people like, oh, I want to be a coach. So I'm like, cool, you'd be a great coach. And then they do like 5 sessions. They're like, I hate being a coach. You know what I mean? Like, well, at least we found it out. Like, now it's going to try this.
Yes, exactly. And the idea that you could be whatever, 16 or however
Yeah.
old you are in the current education system where they try to get you on your life path.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I wasn't even, I wasn't even half retarded
Yeah.
at 16. I was
Yeah.
like, man, I still had a long way to go just to get into the ditch. And the idea that, oh yeah, I'm gonna be this.
Yeah. ...
forever. And it's like that might have worked great when life expectancy was 40.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had 3 options.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you need to hurry up and do something. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
'cause you're,
Yeah.
you're
literally halfway.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
almost at middle age, bro.
Yeah.
But now I was messaging with somebody last night, and it was just funny to see how doing 17 different things
Yep.
that were at the time not connected at
Right.
all, but then they all dovetail back around, and here we are. And it's like, wow, I would have never thought that any of those dots would have connected.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
I don't think I could have really told anybody in the moment what I was doing because I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we have this weird thing now, because I'm sure you deal with it all the time, where it's not only it's the imposter syndrome
Yeah.
thing, but it's the aspect of I'm supposed to know this already.
Yeah. Very
And,
true.
You know, because it's like I have that in the world of sobriety. You know, like somebody gets 5 years sobriety, and they're like, "Why am I still a dumbass?
Right.
Or why do I still do
Yeah,
dumb shit
yeah.
or whatever?" It's like because, well, dude, that doesn't wash off,
Right, yeah.
You know, and even now, 10 or 12 or 13 years after my very first, this was it was back in the days when you faxed in your application to Metrotex.
Yes.
Literally a fax. I think I'm gonna have to. I'll scan the memory banks, but I think that night last week was the first time that I ever had anything that like inner demon, that inner devil
Yeah.
that's like, you suck. Or
Yeah.
it was like, oh, now what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That was the first time that there was ever any validation that it was like, okay, even my inner Antichrist can't
Right.
shit on that.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah.
that was real.
Right,
You
yes.
know? And I got the
That's a plaque I gotta take home.
I got
Yeah.
the engraved crystal gimmick
Yes.
over there to prove
Yeah.
it, you know? And that's been a little bit to process.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you ever have guys that you're coaching where it was like, oh no, oh shit, I'm actually doing this for real.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
actually, I mean, I am that guy now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where, and I never would have thought in a million years that there would be a transition from imposter to like
Yeah.
authentic.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't playing a role.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not like acting as a character.
Yeah.
And then when I, clock out or whatever, at the end of the day, I'm somebody else. But there was this weird thing of, getting your picture made with everything.
Yeah.
And then like the people, the coolest thing, again, it all goes back to the people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because I was the world's biggest, I was a huge fan of prescription drugs.
Yeah.
And dude, if you'd have given me like all of my little, my
Yeah.
whoopee.
Yeah. Put down the cup. Yeah.
Yeah, if you'd have given me all of that and like cable TV and a couple of guitars,
Yeah.
I would have literally just gone in the back. I did for years.
Right.
I would just go in the back bedroom and exist.
Yeah.
And so for that guy to realize like, oh wow, the secret
Yeah.
ingredient is people. You know?
Interesting.
Never saw that coming.
Wow.
And like the folks texting me while I'm up on stage, and then Lance
Yeah,
down
yeah,
front, and
yeah.
like we're just goofing or whatever.
It's everything.
Yeah, it just blew my mind.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And what do you tell somebody after it's like, okay,
Well, it's like you're the richest guy in the world at that moment, not because of the award, but because of all the relationships and the love and the connections and like what that represents, the impact, the people
Yes.
you've helped, the people the conversations, all the stuff. Like that's so it's amazing in that moment when you go like this. It's not about the award; it's about what that represents.
right,
Yeah.
right. And in the actual time served, if
Yeah.
you will. And then it was cool because I had Cruz there. And so he's down, like boom, like literally right
Yeah.
in the front of the stage and shooting. And I was able to bookmark it for him and me,
Yeah.
me and him,
Yeah.
he and I.
He and I, yeah.
Is it he and I?
I think
I
so.
think-
Yeah, he and I. There you go.
Yeah, he and I sound smart.
Yeah, it does.
But I was able to bookmark it because he's been with me now for 4.5 years.
Wow.
And there have been like, we were in the little, shitbox place over in Dallas
Yeah.
that I took a L on, gigantic there. But the first time that we're painting the walls black and like hanging stuff, I'm like, wow, dude, check this out. Like this came from you
Yeah.
meeting me in Nikki's office.
Yeah.
Boom. Then we're over here doing that.
Yeah.
Boom. Then we're over on a weekend in Colleyville putting up
Yeah.
the foam gimmicks or whatever. And then I'm able to say on the stage there at the Ritz, like, wow, dude, how about this?
Yeah.
Like
So cool.
Check that out. And that was nuts, man. And that means more to have like, and it's so we'll have some good hustle porn clips out of this
Yeah.
where it's so cliche that it's the journey.
Yeah.
And it's the process.
Yeah.
And
Well, and the reality is like you talk about like imposter syndrome, and the interesting thing is like you have to be that guy before you are that guy. Like you have to take the actions that guy would take before you're that guy.
Yes.
And things like people are like I want to be a speaker, or I want to be able. It's like okay, well, what you have to do all the things that person does before you become it. So you have to kind of like emulate it right before you actually become it, and it can feel a little weird, but like you got to do the things that person would do in order to actually be that person.
And is that kind of a universal? Because it's like I don't know what it's like it's like I'm fascinated with y'all's like the performance coaching and all that stuff, and I know how I can take the bullet points and how it applies to me. But for you guys like you and Michelle, whenever you have folks that they're already doing it,
Right.
but even now, I'll still go 7 days a week with no real thought of, oh, this needs to work or this needs to happen or this. It's just like, I just do it.
Yeah.
And then to be like, boom, okay, you get a thing or whatever. Or then you look up and it's like, wow, you have this badass circle of friends
Right.
that are all like, just absolute Jedis at what they do. And then you throw out an idea of, hey, hey guys, let's put on a show.
Yeah.
Like the Little
Yeah.
Rascals or whatever. And everybody says yes.
Well, I think you find your role, and I think that the biggest thing, especially like this time of year, it's such an important time to do. We talked about this a couple months ago, but like the intentional reflection piece. We're like, now it's time to go. Like, it's so important to step back and go like, hey, if somebody says success is like liking what you do and how you do it. And I was like, what an interesting way. But like, so I think a lot of times success is like looking around and going like, why are these my friends? Do I like that these are my friends? Do I not like these are my friends? Right? It's like, okay, why is my bank account at a certain amount? Right? Do I like that? Do I not like, but I think it's the intentional reflection on, and I mean, one of the things I do is I go back to my calendar and I'm like, okay, what on my calendar am I really glad that I did this year? What do I want to do more of? What do I want to do less of? What do I want to not do again? You know what I mean? And like, kind of like you're saying, like, hey, if we do it once and we don't like it, we don't have to do it again. But like, I think it's the intentional reflection. I think what blows my mind is how many people do the same thing over and over that they don't like, be out of like routine or out of not because it's the path to where they're going. That's a different story. But do what they think they need to do just because it's like the rhythm or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's what breaks my heart.
Or the idea of, I always used to say this in recovery. It's like, it's hell, but it's my hell. Where it's like,
Correct.
I have created this, and in some skewed way, Stockholm syndrome-y thing or whatever, this is what is comfortable to me. So like the idea of, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and just like, when I got the CPA, I guess last year or earlier this year or whatever, you give them this gigantic chunk of money to like do the forensic, like dig up all the bodies of previous, and it's like, ouch, and you're like, wow, I probably should have been paying attention to that. And but you're just doing. There's no manual to most of this.
Correct.
And you just kind of do whatever's in front of you, and then if it sucks, you don't go back. But like I have been sorely lacking in the intentionality of looking back and going like, oh, that did work.
Yeah.
Where I never, and it makes sense if I say it out loud, it's like, oh, it makes sense if you actually look back at what worked and ... do more of that.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, of course.
I think it just speeds up the process.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, if you can do it, it just speeds up. Like, and I think, yeah. So if you can do the intentional reflection, which is some people over reflect. Like some people, all they're doing is reflecting. That's not good.
Morbid reflection.
Right? Yeah. So it's like, where's that balance? Where like I'm not dwelling on the past. I'm not overly living in the future. So I think it's where it comes down to like,
Yes.
hey, once a week I sit down and review my week. Once a quarter I sit down and look at my, hey, is this working? Not working? But like scheduling that out, so you're doing it in a healthy, intentional way, not just like a self-defeating way, or I'm living in the future all the time where I'm just constantly anxious. So I think it's a balance. And the other thing too is sometimes it's not something we should do with someone else like our coach, meaning it's hard to do it on our own sometimes, right?
Right.
To do it the right way. And somebody goes, how do I make this decision on my own? I go, I don't think you do. I think you need to get a handful of people around you because it's so complicated. You're so close to it. You probably need a couple other people around you to help you make this decision. And I think one of the biggest lies we've been taught, especially in our Western society, is that we're supposed to do it on our own. And we were never designed to do it on our own. We aren't wired to do it on our own.
Right.
But we've been taught, hey, if you're really great, you do it on your own, right? You figure it out, you whatever it is. And I think it's so bullshit. Like even there was this big thing in the 90s. It was like, codependent relationships and how bad codependency is. And it's like, right, if you're a really healthy person, it's two people in a relationship. They're totally independent, but they kind of do some shit together. And like, that's not actually healthy.
Yeah, that's like some League of Nations
Yeah,
shit.
and I think there was a time when that really came out. It came from a place of like a good. In other words, like don't be so dependent on your partner that you stay in unhealthy relationships or abusive relationships. So like there was some healthiness underneath it, but it kind of took away from like actually a healthy relationship is I am dependent on you in some ways. Right? I'm dependent. Like if we're in a relationship, I'm dependent on you to be able to call you and go like I'm having a bad day, and you say how can I help?
Yes.
Like that's not unhealthy. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's healthy to have some sort of level of dependence in healthy relationships, healthy friendships. And I think we've just been taught that like great people our freaking robots to do all the shit on their own. And it's like,
that
that's
everyone's an
so messed
island,
up.
and you should be like this,
Yes.
this sovereign nation that is
Yes.
like fully functioning
Correct.
and absolutely independent on every level. And I could say from, you know, like I took myself there chemically, you know, by
Yeah.
accident, but and my phone's blown up. I
You weren't alone. You just
yeah, exactly. And I took myself there chemically, where I was, you know, I was independent. I wasn't
Yeah.
doing, you know, anything to anybody other than myself, and that's also not true. But in that world, you just are detached from
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And there's no happy ending there. There
No.
is no
No.
happily ever after. There's no upside to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it escalates to where you just have to be more chemically, you know, enhanced
Yeah.
to mask everything else.
Yeah.
And then boom, pop out the other side if you're lucky, you know, knock wood. And then go through that process of like, oh shit, everything hurts. This sucks. And then you realize, shout out to one of my buddies, Jason, who said I think second ex-wife had just exited the stage left. And he's like, dude, you need to be out in front of people. And now, mind you, I'm somebody that's like,
Yeah, like I need to go hide. Is what I
I'm
need
like,
to do.
I'll be under my desk in my
Yeah.
office downstairs if you need me, but
Yeah.
don't need me.
Yeah.
You know, that would be my, and it turns out he was absolutely right. And it wasn't until I put myself out there and it's not fatal.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
do these little things where you show up, you meet 2 or 3 people, then you show up again if it doesn't suck, and then
Yep.
you just keep going. And then over time, wow. And I would say the biggest secret to any of it is you don't quit.
Yeah.
You know, in my little video interview thing or whatever, the mantra that I give to everybody that joins the team is if you don't quit and you don't suck,
Yep.
you will succeed.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, in today's world, like what you were saying about Western civilization and our culture, most people quit. Most people don't even start.
Yeah.
And then most people that start quit.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fill in whatever imaginary blank they have in their head as far as, oh, if I do this, people will like me. Well, no, whatever it is that, you know, whatever unlikable shit that it is that you're doing, don't do that and people will like
Yeah.
you. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yes.
And it kind of goes to what you were saying about that objective third party that is essentially allowed behind the castle wall.
Yeah,
Where it's
absolutely.
like, you know, because part of this that nobody ever talks about is you got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It kind of starts with telling the truth.
Yes.
You know? And so, like, Lance and I'll be talking about something or whatever, and I'll be like, dude, I don't know. And it'll be like some business bullshit
Yeah.
thing or whatever. And we're like, yeah, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, dude, you act like I could have lived to be 1,000 and I would never cared about doing that. You know, but it's like some systematic thing
Yeah.
that is clearly beneficial to running a
Yes.
company.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, dude, whatever. If you say it's like, clearly you've been doing this longer than me, so
Right.
I will take that
There
under
you go.
advisement. Yeah. But that whole idea of if I'd have been like, oh yeah, you know, just like said some bullshit
Yeah.
or whatever in the moment, and then, you know, effed off and just acted like we didn't have that conversation. Well, then 18 months later, when shit's on fire, oh, now what?
Yeah.
But man, that was a long way around the barn too, just to get to the place where I was comfortable with saying, like, you know, taking the L on
Yeah.
the Dallas location.
Yeah.
My first ever commercial lease
Yeah.
with a bunch of fucking goofs,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And when you have the experts say, man, I don't know how those guys stay in business. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I was a dumbass on my side of the
Right.
field, but I was also dealing with the visiting team was also.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. But man, I am so stoked for 2025.
So tell them what we're doing. Let's talk about what we're going to do in January and invite everybody to it.
All right. So January. So the idea is conceptually, it's the bookends where January, November.
Yes.
Lift off and landing. Because it's like, okay, so we got me, you, Michelle, we got Ashley, we got Christy Becca. Teresa Flood said she'd come and do a session about, I mean, she's got 600 plus
Oh,
agents.
yeah, amazing.
So it's like,
Yeah.
duh. And then I'm thinking, okay, so you and I, and then whoever else we can wrangle,
Yep.
we go live first.
Yeah.
And then we kick it off in the room at 10 a.m. for whoever's in there physically.
Yeah.
So we'll have like an audience too for the
Ab-
Fired Up
yes,
Friday for the first time.
absolutely. There we go. We'll
Like
just call it- yeah.
like a legit
Live
audience.
Fired Up Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen.
And we'll do like a legit audience. Then we'll do what I wanted from, or what I would like is that y'all that do this like for real, for a living, and I have seen the benefits. So it's like I'm just so scattered, and you know, it's on my to-do list as far as like, okay, Once I can afford all of the other things and I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul, we'll dial into that. But what I see you with like you and guys like Tyler or whatever,
Yeah.
where it's just, and then the fact that it's visible, that success leaves clues.
Yep.
So my thought was, all you guys that do your individual, and Corey too, Corey at Random. So Corey,
Very
who
cool.
was the
Yeah.
marketing director for Alamo Title.
Nice.
He's now like, it's so funny because he's like my age or whatever, and he's like doing TikToks and shit, and like he's have stuff like, dude, this got 1 million views. I'm like, what?
all-
You know, and it's like there, but all these disparate elements that together make a hellacious stew. But if everybody gave one nugget that folks would ordinarily have to pay for,
Yeah. Yep.
and then also to make it about, hey, we're going into 2025. DFW is predicted to be the #1 market in the
Yeah.
country. So, shit, even if that's a wrong prediction, we're going to be in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It can't be that far
No,
off.
it's gonna be wonderful.
And so the idea there is, okay, let's launch
Yeah.
with the idea of everybody getting some actionable takeaway from each member, and then we're gonna, maybe if we could figure out a way, and like we'll bring it up on the shows or whatever, and like
Yeah.
invite people to like track progress.
Absolutely,
because
yeah.
I would love to see. And again, this would be like a proof of concept for everybody, up to and including like whatever we can come up with, like marketing stuff or whatever, studio wise and social media wise. But to see like to track the analytics, because it's like, oh my god, there is, if like for you guys, I know personally the people that you coach.
Yeah.
So it's like that's easy to
See their day to day.
see, you know. But for everybody else that doesn't know you, and then certainly doesn't know by extension the
Yeah.
people that you work with, there's an element of, well, how do I believe that guy?
Right.
You know, like, or there's an element of, is that snake oil? I don't know. But if we had some sort of analytics that we could
Yeah.
look at, or even just a trackable thing where somebody might volunteer to be the guinea pig, like
Yeah.
a Tyler, like
Yeah.
a TK. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yep, absolutely. And see some of the journey. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then that would give them a little bit of content and a little bit of visibility. And it's like, this is how you get to where I am, I being whoever the
Yep.
focus is. And then this is what I'm doing and why.
Yeah.
And then, oh, this is where I, like, so for you, and then somebody that would be your client or whatever, be like, oh, and this is where I got the idea.
Yeah.
Or this is who charts the course before I take the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And then we bring it in on the landing, and everybody comes in and like show
Yeah.
your work.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and doing the work together.
Yes, exactly. And then maybe like we sprinkle in something in the middle of the year, like the
Yeah.
summer, like a little bit of a
Little refuel
yeah,
or
like
something.
a mid-year pep rally
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, I love it. I love it.
But dude, we rambled for half an hour.
Boom.
Without headphones, that was
love
weird.
it.
Yeah. So
I'm excited for our Christmas party tomorrow night.
yes. I'm gonna try to evacuate my
Brittany
sinuses.
Stewart and Bettina have come up with the signature drink, so it's gonna
So-
get weird. I'm coming up with the games.
Okay.
And Morgan's got food. It's gonna be great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Be prepared.
All right,
We
well-
may have to turn our social media off for 24 hours.
I'll be the designated driver for everyone.
Amen to that.
I'll
Amen
have
to
to
that.
drive you like
yes.
to the master bedroom or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
There you
here,
go.
sir.
There you go. Lay down.
All right, brother.
Cool. Fired up.
Yes.
Go get him, my friends.
All right, now I gotta go stop.
Now you got to go stop it. Yeah. There you go. Oh man, I am excited for everything that's happening right now.
Yes.